Good morning. Welcome everybody to On the House. Great to be here this morning. I'm actually in LA, and I got here yesterday. Very excited to be here with the people in LA. We had a new development event last night for Five Park in Miami. That was a lot of fun, and that was great. It's been an exciting week. It's funny, I'm in LA and I actually just got a text from an agent saying, "Hey, if you're at 575, I'll stop by today." So I've obviously been all over the place. I was in London last week. Everybody saw the launch of Elliman International, which is a really exciting thing for the company. And we got started. The way our deal worked with Knight Frank, and just so if no one's heard me say this, Knight Frank are great people. We are continuing to do business with them. The people that are there are really amazing. And, we like all of them, and we want to continue to have a great, company and personal relationship with everybody there. And, we're excited about our future as a standalone international business, but we're also excited about continuing to do business with the people at Knight Frank. That was a 15-year relationship. It did a lot of things, for Douglas Elliman. It did a lot of things for Knight Frank, and it was a very amicable, mutually agreeable, decision, that we made together. I've been talking about international since my first day here, and I believe that the next frontier for this company, we're a 100-year-old business, is truly to become an international company, be around the globe, and the walls are down on us. And I was talking about it a lot. Agents would come up to me a lot, and it would really be something that was part of the conversation, whether it be agents wanting us to be in Mexico, agents wanting us to be in London, in Paris, even in Canada. A lot of people obviously buy homes. So, I really respected the agreement with Knight Frank, and part of that agreement was that we couldn't do anything until that agreement was, dissolved, and that happened on Monday. So Monday really became go time for us, and we're working on a technology platform that's going to be interesting. I don't want to say too much about it, but we're working on something that's going to be really interesting and innovative, for us as a company. Obviously, we think we're going to have some physical presence around the globe. We think our name is the most recognizable name in luxury real estate global, and we really want to accentuate that in the future. So it's really a totally new frontier for the company, and I think it's going to do a lot of things for our agents, and really creating that international network will really create the referral stream in between DE agents abroad and DE agents domestically. So I'm very excited about it. I was in London last week. If you go around the world, you really see that if you're not there, you're missing the biggest opportunity. The largest part of growth is clearly around the world. In the US, obviously, we're such a dominant country in terms of the economy, but there's a lot going on around the world, and the average wealthy person has 5 homes or more. Someone said it's 6. I don't know if it was 6. Actually, when someone said it to me, I actually started reading about it. I think it's actually 5. But I think it's really important. We've got, I would call the US for us will be that feeder. Right now we have feeder markets that we're in, like, LA is a feeder to Aspen, and, LA is a feeder to Miami. Miami's a feeder back to Aspen. New York can be a feeder to LA. So it's all of that. So it's really creating feeder markets around the globe for our agents. And I think it's a really important thing to do. And I'm really excited about it. Stephen, do you want to open it up to questions a little bit more now? Because, I could talk about all of the things that we're doing. We've got a lot going on at the company, and we're working on a lot of different things. Obviously, everybody saw, we're doing a big event in October that we're really excited about. We're working on some smaller events. We ultimately want to do a European event. So we've got a lot going on. I mean, I could really just go on, for a long time about the things that we're doing, and we're trying to be methodical about how we're doing it. We actually launched a mortgage platform in Florida. We haven't even announced that yet, but we want to beta test it in Florida, make sure it's right, and then bring it to the rest of the country. So, we're doing a lot of things, but we're really trying to do it in a really methodical way and make sure that things are launched in the right way and in a very organized way. So maybe we should just do some questions. I think that's probably a better way to do it. And ask anything anybody wants. Don't hold back. I will give an answer to whatever is asked. I promise.
We've got a bunch already coming in, and so here's one from an agent down in Palm Beach. You've had some time to get settled in. What's been your impression of the culture at Douglas Elliman?
I think that the culture at Douglas Elliman, I think, is a great culture. I think we talk a lot about culture. We did a big culture survey that we wanted to do, and we're obviously going through those things. I think we have an amazing culture. I think that my prior businesses had incredible culture. That it was just an amazing winning attitude. We all felt that we were really family together, and Douglas Elliman feels that way. I think if you said to me, it's interesting because in the press and in the media, everybody wants to talk about us, right? I mean, the amount of press that we get is just unbelievable, and everybody is always talking about us. And culture, comes up, and it's really, if you're outside the company, you don't really realize, but we have a great culture. Our agents are very connected with one another, and the one thing that we want to make sure is that the culture going forward stays that way. You always have to learn all of the lessons of the things that happened in the past to make the future better and learn from it, right? And every company out there, I will tell you, I know what our competitors are doing. People call me from our competitors, and we have an amazing culture, but we want to always grow that culture and protect it, right? It's very important to do all of the things you do to protect your culture. And part of that is making sure that you've got the right people here, right? So if, certain agents that have left the company was a good thing for us. Certain agents we said no to, in the last 6 months, that we could have hired was good for us. So we want to really be smart. And the other thing I would say to that, you're never going to be perfect. You cannot have a business with 7,000 real estate agents and people and 1,000 employees and have a perfect, right? You're playing the numbers in some respects, and you do the best you can. But I think the culture really starts from the top with all of our leaders. I think we have amazing leaders. I'm a big culture person. I live it every single day. And I think we've got a great culture, but we don't rest on that. And I think we want to do a lot more things to improve that culture. And part of that is doing the events. Part of that is keeping a lot more agents involved in what we're doing. I think the international, I will just say also on international, the outpouring that I have received this week since Monday on LinkedIn, Instagram, text, email is unbelievable. Okay. Like the excitement level from people around the globe is absolutely unbelievable. And what's interesting is that when I was in London last week, I went to an event, a new development event that we're doing. I spoke on a panel, and I had agents coming up to me asking about us. I see what's going on. It's unbelievable. I can't believe what you're doing. And for me, I actually took like a step back. I'm like, in London, you guys are hearing this? But obviously, we're in such an interconnected world. It's like I could argue London, is like the East Coast, or something like that. That's just where the world is. And that's why it was so important. I cannot stress enough how important it was for this company to become a global business. It is so important for us. So hopefully I answered that question.
To that point, Michael, Maureen Laveau from Miami had a question. What is the brokers that DE is going to partner with in Europe?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question because we're looking at that right now. Like I mentioned, Monday was go time for us. As I said, we're getting a lot of inbound. It's not just me, it's other people within the company and other leaders of ours. Obviously, we all know and we all have friends that are abroad. And we're going through that right now. And again, it's the same thing. It's the selective nature, right? And again, you want to be a company that's selective on the agents that you bring in because you want to also create an aura to us, right? You want to basically create there's something to get in here. It's not like we'll take anybody, right? It's an exclusive club, and agents are doing business with other agents, and we need to make sure that the agents, that are doing business with us and join our platform are agents that we want to have. And again, I will say this for everybody to know, and this is within your own business, right? It's not going to be perfect. We will make a mistake along the way. We may hire an agent that we're like, oh my God, I can't believe we put that agent in. Okay. Or we'll make a mistake on something, on technology. We'll make a mistake. We will make mistakes. I guarantee you, when we decided to do this with Knight Frank, I said to myself, oh my God, with all of the things I have going on, I'm going to do this now. Right? Maybe I should wait a few months, right? Maybe I should give myself a little bit of peace, but no, it's very important. But the moral to the story that I'm trying to say is that do things, take chances, take risks. I am a risk taker. I have always been a risk taker. And I could have sat back and said, all right, let's just leave the partnership the way it is and let everybody do what they do. But I really felt we needed to be the leader. I really believe this company has been in a leadership role before. I think the company, when it launched new development 10, 15, 20 years ago, was a leader in that. I think there's a lot of things that DE was the innovator in. And I think we're going to be the innovator in international. But we will make mistakes along the way. People are going to call me up and be like, oh my God, Michael, I can't believe you did something, you opened an office on that street. That's the worst street. Or oh, you hired that agent. I didn't hear the greatest thing about them. Or that technology that we're doing needs a tweak. We're going to make a lot of mistakes, and it's okay to make it. It's part of the game. It's part of what we all do. And if you're nimble and you recognize your mistakes and you change them along the way, it's fine. And I would say that to everybody in their own business. That's gonna happen. But we got to take chances and we got to take risks. Without risk, you never get anywhere. So.
But just to be clear, we just ended a partnership with Knight Frank. We're not going to go into a partnership like that, right? It's going to look different going forward.
We are not doing, and again, that was fine for when it was, like in The Real Deal, they quoted me saying, when Howard did that deal 15 years ago, the world was much different. All of it was much different. It was really too much. The world wasn't open enough back then, and the technology wasn't where it is today to do that. But we have no interest in doing what I'll call JV partners. We want to own it. We want to build our own. We want our name on the door. And that's what's going to create this international network that we need. So no, we're not interested in doing partnerships. Listen, we could partner with some small firms in some regions that are remote, right? Because it just doesn't make sense for us to be there on our own, but it will have our name. We are not promoting other firms' names. Our name will be on the door, or those partnerships won't make sense for us. Well, I'll give you an example. Last night at the event, a broker, she's Norwegian. And she came over to me and she's like, oh, I'm from Norway and I sell everything to Norwegians. And, I know a bunch of people over there that are great. Would you go to Norway? I go, I'll go anywhere that we can all make money. If there's an economic opportunity, we'll go anywhere. But we want it to make sense. We're not going to go to Norway just so we can say that we're in Norway. And to this agent, who was a very nice lady, just so you can get a bunch of referrals, but we all lose, it doesn't make sense, right? We want to be in places that it makes sense for all of us to be in. So,
yeah, I will say even Tracy Hammersley had a similar question from New York City. We claim an international reach, but how do we explain that, why we ended the relationship with Knight Frank to clients?
I think it's a very simple one. And I would say this, we didn't end the relationship. We changed it. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's a fact. We are still doing business with Knight Frank. We like them. They're good people. Okay. I've gotten a lot of reach out from a lot of Knight Frank brokers that have reached out to me since this. Every single message was a very positive one. Knight Frank actually told us when they changed, when they had what we did with them, they did more business with them. So we did not stop doing business with Knight Frank. Knight Frank's agreement for us was restrictive. Okay. So if one of our agents came to me and said, I want to be in Mexico, okay, or I want to be in here, we couldn't do it. We couldn't have our name. If you notice, when you went around the world, we had a partnership. Their name had to be on it, not ours. That's just not a partnership I think is good for us. Okay. It was done then and it was fine, but we are still doing business with Knight Frank. Nothing has changed with Knight Frank. The difference is now Douglas Elliman could be around the world and in place. And keep in mind, there were plenty of places Knight Frank wasn't in. Okay. And we had to get their permission to go to a place that they weren't even in. So it just wasn't an agreement that really worked for us anymore, but we still have those relationships. You can say to all of your clients, we still have a relationship with Knight Frank. I can access Knight Frank. I will tell you, they will work harder today, okay, in my view, and this has nothing to do with them, it's just human nature, than they did before. So nothing has changed. The walls have just come down.
Yeah, I would say even from a press perspective, this was always a bit of a pain point for me and my team, where we would open up the Times of London or the FT and see our listings assigned as a Knight Frank exclusive because of that agreement. Or on the other hand, executives or agents from Knight Frank talking about our markets in
Yeah,
European or Asian publications, which should have been our agents and our executives talking about our markets. Anyhow,
yeah,
so we'll
yeah,
be able to really not, we won't be hiding behind another brand from now on. We'll be front and center, which we should be.
yeah, exactly.
So we've got a lot of questions coming in on the chat box, but you guys should really put them in the Q&A if you don't mind. But still, what is the focus for commercial opportunities globally?
It's interesting because I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, or maybe it's in the last week or two. For some reason, I've gotten a couple of questions on commercial. Right now we have like a couple people in LA that do commercial. We've got some people in Long Island that do commercial. We've got some people in Florida. I think we need to, again, create a platform, right? I think that's the key to the whole thing. We have not done that. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us in commercial because we've got so many residential brokers. A lot of, mixed use properties have retail in them. We have a big property management business, obviously in New York. So we really need to, and actually, I think it was the agent that brought it up to me, emailed me the next day saying that they had a plan. So I think what we really want to do is create a commercial platform. But again, it gets into, I've been here like 6 months. I mean, we've done a lot of things. So we want to, be smart in how we do it, orderly and all that. But it's on the radar because I think what we really want to ultimately become is a real estate services business that does a lot of things that sit around the agent. I said that in my first interview. I talked about international in my first one. So I think we're trying to now do the things that we've been talking about doing, but these things take, they take some time, and to do them right, they have to take some time.
Right. So Lila Najad, a fabulous agent of ours in New York City. She's selling one of the most expensive penthouses in New York right now, the penthouse at 432 Park. I think it's the highest livable home in the world. She asked, when our clients only listed with Elliman because of the Knight Frank platform, what should we tell them now if we still have the listing, we don't have it on their international platform anymore? In other words, what type of international platforms will we have in its place?
Well, as I mentioned before, that we are working on obviously a technology piece that is going to be ready pretty soon on that. So it will be listed. We've got a lot of agents around the world that we are talking to at the moment that will be promoted. So what you should do is call me, shoot me a text or an email, and I'll connect you to a solution on that property.
John Lawrence, your college buddy from New York City, is asking, are we going to continue the wealth report as Douglas Elliman? And what sort of assets will we be creating to sort of replace the wealth report and other sort of bodies of research to help talk about international upper high net worths?
Yeah, we've got a bunch of similar things going on that we're gonna do. We're also looking at doing our own. Howard's view and why he wanted the Knight Frank report back then is he thought he needed a third party to do it. Again, the world was kind of different back then. I think he was right for doing it the way he did. I think the Knight Frank wealth report and the way they did that was the right thing to do at that moment. But today, I think what we need to do is really there's so much data and so much information, we could launch our own. So we're looking at either deciding whether we launch our own wealth report or whether we do it in partnership with, somebody else, that specializes in the data. But we're working on that.
So slightly different topic, but there's several questions, all the same, from several different agents from around the country. And could you just quickly comment on the rumors regarding a takeover?
Wasn't there a song about rumors? There was like a song, you remember?
Rumors, books, movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, there was a rumor that I think, was it Berkshire Compass was buying Berkshire or something like that.
The Wall Street Journal. Yeah.
Yeah. It was in the Wall Street Journal, and that was, I think, a few months ago, and I don't think anything's happened there. I mean, listen, there's always going to be rumors. I think, we're very attractive. I think, listen, if you're a competitor, right, or you're a private equity fund or somebody else, and I think if you look at a lot of the things that we're doing with the brand that we've got, I think we look pretty interesting to people. And I think we look like a threat you know, and people show interest, and that's fine. Listen, I was on the board of the company, obviously, you know, before I was the CEO, and we used to get people interested all the time. So this is nothing unusual. I think the rumors and the, you know, the real deal and all of them, I think they do what they do, you know, and you know, I'm very focused on this international, you know, plan. Some of the other plans that we're working on, you know, we're doing a lot of things, and that's what we're focused on. I'm not spending my time thinking about that stuff. To me, again, like I said, because I was a board member, maybe I just kind of like, it's kind of normal for me. I guess if you're an agent, you see that stuff, you're like, you know, you kind of look and, you know, your radar goes up a little bit, but we're very focused on what we're doing. That's where we are. And that's what we're doing going forward. I don't spend any of my time thinking about a lot of these rumors.
Yeah. In fact, another agent anonymous commented, why would they be launching a big international division if they were trying to sell the company? So it's sort of, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're looking to hire, listen, we're also looking to hire people.
Right.
So, you know, we're really, you know, that's the other thing I would say to people that are on this call. If you know anyone that you think is amazing, okay, on the international front that we should hire, in the C-suite across the company, we are hiring right now. We are not in cutting mode. You know, we basically, you know, my first, you know, I'm here 6 months, and the first 3 or 4 months kind of, you know, let's take stock. We were taking stock of the whole business. We looked at some things that we thought, you know, didn't make any sense. I think a couple of things we may have made some mistakes on that we should now do that maybe we didn't do or we said no to. I think that's, you know, just what happens, but we're in hiring mode right now. We want to spend money on growth initiatives. So if anybody, you know, knows anyone that they think will add value to this company that you think that we should be looking at hiring, whether that be a manager, whether that be a marketing person, whether that be a PR person, but not the head of PR, just someone in PR, all of those things that, you know, will add value to us, we are hiring. So please, we would love to. It's the best way for us to meet people. Really the best way. So we would love to meet new people if anybody has anyone.
So back to Elliman International, how will we differentiate ourselves from other global real estate companies?
Well, listen, I think we're doing it, right? That's what we're doing right now. We are differentiating ourselves because our competitors, right? I think it's Corcoran, I think is what Savills, which is another Knight Frank agreement. It's actually, I think this is actually a little watered down than our Knight Frank agreement. I think it was actually a better agreement from what I know. Compass is a franchisee of Christie's. You know, that's not what we want to do. If I look across it, we're going to do a full. Keller Williams is international, EXP is, but they're not luxury brands. Okay, so I really see us as the lone luxury brand that's going global, that's going to own the brand. That's the key to the whole thing. I mean, you know, the real deal, when they put that article out, I was like, finally, they actually put an article out that really said what I meant, you know, and it's true. It's our name should be around the world. We're going to build it. We're going to own it. We're going to promote it, and our agents are going to benefit from it. Simple as that.
And what specific markets or regions around the world is Elliman going to target or prioritize first?
I'll give like kind of, I was going to like just blurt out a few, but I'll say it in a better way. Wherever there's opportunity, right? If somebody says, like I gave you the Norway example, if that agent's right and there's something there, you know, with a lot of Norwegians moving to Florida because it's so cold, or Arizona or Texas or something, great. It's really going to be opportunistic. I think everything we need to do as a company should be opportunistic. And I will say to every agent that's on this call, you should be running your business the same way. Okay. You should be opportunistic. I had dinner on Tuesday night in Miami with one of our biggest agents, okay, by far. She does a huge amount of business, okay, and our CEO down there. And the conversation, obviously, we were happy to see each other. We haven't seen her, you know, I kind of interface with her occasionally, but all she was focused on, how do I get $100 million listing? Literally, she just wanted to have $100 million listing, okay? She makes a lot of money. She's got a lot of listings. All we talked about was, how do I get bigger? How do I grow my business? Nothing else. I mean, literally the entire conversation was about, how do I get my business to be bigger? What do I focus my attention on? What should I be doing to grow? How should I do my business? And this is someone that is enormously successful. She's been with Douglas Elliman for a long time, loves the company. She wants it to stay exactly the way it is. We talk about international. She's like, great, do your international, but don't screw up all the things that I really like along the way, which I laughed because I'm like, well, we're making them better actually, which she agreed with. But the conversation was strictly about what can I do to grow my business? What areas of my business should I focus on, right? And where should I spend my time to get to that, right? Because ultimately, the thing you wake up in the morning, you look at your calendar, you see your time. For me too, right? That's what we're basically parsing out. What am I going to spend time? What am I going to dedicate my time to? What's going to generate the ability for me to get a listing? What's to generate the ability for me to meet more people, for me to network? It's like I was at dinner last night with a bunch of agents, and we were just talking about it kind of gave why did you kind of take this role, right? The guy pretty much knew, this agent knew kind of my background and where I came from and all that. And I said to him, listen, I was on the board and there were a lot of reasons I did it, but one of the things I was really excited about this role, and it's become true, is it would expand my network, right? I have met so many people because of the publicity we get, all of it. And what does it do? It just gives me a bigger universe of people to do more business with, right? So I've put myself in a position to meet more people in my everyday life, in my professional life, and all of it. And if I'm smart, I turn those things into opportunity, right? And every agent, every day should be doing that, right? And it's as simple as if there's a higher end gym to go to where you may be working out, and there may be a person that asks you what you do or whatever, just put yourself in those positions. You got to put yourself in a position to succeed. And also keep yourself out of positions that are no good. I'll give you something simple. My son is a big walker. He walks in Miami. He said to me, he goes out at 10 o'clock at night and walks. I'm like, why would you put yourself in a position at 10 o'clock at night when all the crazies are out to do a 3-4 mile walk? Why don't you do it at 7 o'clock? Right? I mean, there's crime in the world. And just in general, right? Put yourself in all of these positions where you're going to succeed the most, right? That's the key. We're all networking. I'm networking every single day. And I think, all of those things are the most important things that we can all be doing. And I want to put Douglas Elliman in that position where this company, why we're doing international, it's just going to bring us more. It's all about exposure.
Yeah. There's also, if you want to sell $100 million properties, Elliman is the place to be, because we own that market right now between Lourdes Alatrista in Miami, John Gomes and Frederick in New York, Lila and Noble in New York, Riley and Aspen. We are the kings and queens of selling 9-figure properties.
Yeah, and
Altman's just listed one in Orange County for 125 million.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I won't name the name of it, but we have one that we got $100 million offer on yesterday that I'll keep quiet about which one that is for confidentiality, but they're moving, right? You don't think, not only forget about getting the listing, but it may sell okay, at that price.
And Mike Lutusik has one in Aspen actually for 125 million also.
Yeah.
Okay, so sort of changing gears a little bit to technology. Tracy Ward, who's on the Ethan Gomes team in Jupiter, would like to know, she would love to talk technology and DE's online presence. Any plans to ramp up our current listing exposure?
Well, yeah, that's more of a question for, obviously I'm not the tech guy, but yeah, we are actually working on something on that with Perlin right now. So I'll find out where he is on it. It's a big project that we've been working on.
Is that the app, Michael?
It's part of it, yeah, but there's something else that we're working on. We don't want to give, I think there are other people other than Elliman on this call, because I saw you guys posted this. So that means there are non-Elliman people on this call. I don't want to really give away too much of the game plan. I can't help kind of giving things away because I can't, I'm a very transparent person, but I don't want to give away everything.
Yeah, I'm very proud of you right now. You're being all right, so let's couple of fun questions that have come in. I know you have to get to your first meeting in Los Angeles this morning.
Yeah.
But some
I wanted to go to the gym, but you guys were, you didn't really make this easy for me today.
Well, actually, that's part of this. One of these questions. What's your coffee order? People want to know what's your coffee order.
You mean like actual coffee?
Yeah, like what do you drink?
Okay. So this morning I got up at like, I think it was like 4:30 um, Beverly Hills time. And I stay at the Peninsula and I love the Peninsula because they used to have coffee at 4 a.m. They don't have it at 4 a.m. anymore. Now it's at 5. I was not happy about that. So I literally called down and I'm like, listen, I need a pot of coffee with almond milk and I need it fast. Okay. And honestly, they were really quick. It was here in like under 10 minutes. I couldn't believe it. So a pot of coffee, it's over there on the table. I think I drank the whole thing.
What about what's the last book or podcast book you read or podcast that you listened to? Not the one that you were on, besides that
one. Okay, so I'm not a big book reader. Okay, like I was not a good student in school. When I say I was not a good student, I think I have, like I say to my mom, like I always say to my mom, I was just lousy in school. And she's like, you weren't. I don't know why you say that all the time. She's like, you weren't, you were smart. But that's my mother. Okay, so you gotta give that one. But I'm not a big book reader, but what I am, I'm a big information person. Okay, so I'm on like YouTube or I'm constantly Googling things. I'm constantly looking things up. But my attention span, I could never sit down and read a book for 2 hours. It would just be too. I can't do it. So I'm a very big gatherer of information through like YouTube, online, Google. I like ChatGPT. I started doing that. But I haven't really. If someone wants to suggest a good book that will give me some peace for a little bit, I'll take it. So if anybody has a suggestion, so.
Back to some business though. Sally Daly and Vero Beach just sent a question about artificial intelligence and what we're planning in terms of activating technology platforms that are AI driven. Do you want to talk a little bit about Elliman Inspirations?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't want to give too much of this away because we're working on something within Elliman Inspirations right now on the AI front. But we're working on it. And obviously AI is going to be a big piece. Also big on the assistant side of the world, using the AI assistant. So we're in the middle of all of that right now.
Okay, great. I mean, that about wraps it up. A lot of the questions are just repetitive. So thank you for your time, Michael.
My pleasure. And look forward to the next time we do this. It's a lot of fun.
Any parting words of wisdom for our agents?
Parting words of wisdom for our agents. I've got a day filled all the way till tonight. I've got, meeting after meeting, call after call. And the only thing I would say is you got to be out there. You got to be doing it. If you're not out there, you're never going to run into that. Oh my God, I just met somebody that can introduce me to so-and-so. You could be sitting in a bar. You could be sitting in a restaurant. You could be at the gym, as I mentioned, but you got to be out there. And it's not rocket science. It really isn't. This is not hard, but you just have to do it. And you just have to really work hard and be out there and expose yourself. Like I said, I think maybe that's the theme of today's call. Put yourself in a position to be in a position to network better and meet more people and all of that. And then obviously you got to seize on it when it happens. You can meet someone, they could say something or bring something up and you're a little spacey on it. You're not going to seize the opportunity. And the other thing I would say, I thought of this the other day. I'm very big with calling people back, and the whole thing is like people sometimes get strategic in how they kind of return phone calls. They don't want to seem too on top of it. They want to make this like they're busy and all of that. Don't do that.
They don't want to
bullshit. Yeah, don't do that. They're not going to think less of you because you call back 5 times or you call them 5 times a day. Like, what is this? The only thing you're working on? Am I the only buyer you have? Am I the only seller that you have? Bullshit. Call them 20 times if you think it makes sense. They'll find you maybe a little bit annoying, okay? But whatever, that could happen. But they'll know you're the person to get the deal done. That's my words of wisdom for today.
Great. All right. Well, good luck in LA today.
Thank you.
Give our love to everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Take care.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.